Hi ladies, welcome back to the channel. Today I have some tea for you. I want to expand a little bit on a topic we've touched on before, but I think it's worth repeating, worth getting into on a deeper level. And let's get it. So get your tea, because I've got some tea and I'm having a cup of tea, okay? Catch it. All right, so ladies, let us talk about your level up and some of the consequences that will come with it, what you need to also be aware of. I speak a lot about the positive side of leveling up, how it can help you socially, romantically, even financially, and even career-wise. There are so many good things that come from leveling up, showing up as your best, affirming your feminine divine, walking in your feminine divine, expanding your feminine energy, expanding even your masculine energy. And there's nothing wrong with having it if it is in harmony with your feminine energy, okay? But when you have your energy, your aura, your presence, your purpose, when you are unapologetically walking in your greatness, you also have to be aware of some of the pitfalls that will typically show up on your journey. The mother of all of them is envy. Now, envy is such a powerful emotion, but it's a two-sided emotion, okay? Envy basically is a trigger, and a lot of people, because they're lazy to hold their own emotional posture, they will go to what's easiest. So let me break it down a little bit. So envy is the trigger. Envy is the thing that makes you realize something outside of yourself and compare it to something inside of yourself. So let's say, for example, you envy somebody because they look younger than you. Maybe you're the same age. And a lot of older women do envy younger women because it triggers that longing for their youth. It triggers that realization of where in society they now are placed, and it may be something that makes them uncomfortable, okay? That trigger in itself is just a realization, it's just an awareness that comes up to you. It's up to you to use that awareness to replenish your own youth, to replenish yourself at whatever age, to go in a more constructive, how can I reconcile these two direction? And that's where a lot of us tend to grow. We don't grow because, the sun is shining so bright, I feel amazing, I'm ready to be a better person. Sometimes we need somebody to mirror our triggers to us, to motivate us to look deeper than ourselves, figure out what is this trigger about, where is it from, and address that. And that's where growth happens. That's where expansion happens. So in that sense, envy is a beautiful trigger because it makes you look at something that you feel insecure about within yourself, and it makes you work on it. It gives you the courage, the motivation to work on it. It gives you the urgency to work on it, okay? And if you feel triggered in any way, that is an invitation, that is an opportunity for you to get a little bit more intimate with yourself by understanding your insecurities, investigating them, getting into your vulnerable places, and doing the best work you can do over there. That's one outcome of a trigger. There's also another outcome. There's also another direction that your trigger can take, okay? Or another direction that you can take when you are triggered. And that other direction is to allow the insecurity, the negative emotion, allow the shadow aspect of that trigger to take the wheel, okay? So once again, back to the example of envy. Maybe you're envious of somebody because they're younger than you, they are in a different space in life than you are, or maybe you are triggered by another woman in your environment who you feel is just so perfect and you feel a little bit inadequate around her, okay? The other direction that it can take is obviously, instead of looking at your own insecurities and realizing that this is an opportunity to work on them, you're going to want to bring that other person to whatever emotional base you are at. This doesn't even have to be in a confrontational way. Most of the time, these things happen within friend groups, families, close-knit relationships. There will be or maybe a hint, just a slight tint of negative projection. When you allow your insecurities, your triggers to manifest in a negative way within yourself, when you don't get a grip on them, when you don't swerve them in your favor, when you don't do all of that emotional labor, then the quickest way to feel okay about yourself is to try and make that other person, the source of your trigger, the mirror, try and make them feel what you're feeling. So how this would manifest itself is those little jabs, those little backhanded compliments. If you're a woman and you've experienced this, you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? It's so subtle that if you were to speak on it, you would look either petty or crazy, but we all know it's there, okay? If you're not working on yourself, on your triggers, and trying to figure them out, even if it means distancing yourself from someone for a little while, just to recalibrate yourself and figure out, okay, what is going on? Why do I feel like this? Because some negative emotions, they're just messengers. But because a lot of us get lazy to do the work, we just use these little messengers to guide us. Like, are you for real? I must tell you where to take this? No, I'm just here to let you know, hey man, this is how this makes you feel. See what you can do about it or not. That's an emotion. An emotion doesn't and shouldn't have the ranking to control anything. You as the divine, you as the consciousness, the awareness, as the animation, you are the one who gets to make decisions, not symptoms of an underlying self-belief. That cannot run the show. So seeing someone that you perceive as better than you brings up an insecurity of, maybe I'm not pretty enough, maybe I'm not successful enough, maybe I'm not attractive enough, maybe I'm not rich enough, maybe I'm not loving enough, maybe I'm not worth that. I want it, but maybe I'm not worth it. All of those limiting self-beliefs, that is where the juice is. That's where you need to go and figure out, why do you believe this? Where does it come from? What can you do about it? And that's the way that I have found, for me personally, that is the way out. This person is just a representation actually of how you see or would like to see yourself as your highest self. It's like a little hint, a little clue. That's your calling to your next level. You're only triggered by things that actually relate to you. So it's not even a bad thing. It may even be an indication of readiness to go to the next level, because now you're aware that this is what's holding you back. But you really have to be willing to see yourself and understand why you see yourself the way you see yourself, and then do the work of changing how you see yourself. That's where the juice is, but that's also where the squeeze is. It's bittersweet, it's great, but it's also gut-wrenching. And if you're not ready to do that work, you have to realize that nobody is making you feel less than. That person walking around, living their life, figuring their own triggers, like, they're not going out of the way unless they are. But chances are they're not going out of their way to trigger you. You're going out of your way to trigger them, and in your mind it's to trigger them back. But they're not even trying to trigger you. They're literally just being themselves. If you are unable to lose weight and somebody around you loses weight and looks great, it's a trigger. It's a trigger. And you have to do the work of losing your own weight. Belittling them is not going to change you. You could just take that same energy and change the way you eat, change your movement activity levels, change the way you see yourself, change the way you treat yourself, change the way you dress. There are so many things that you can do to better yourself, to change something in yourself, to address your insecurity and pop out looking like fire. What's stopping you from doing that? It's because it takes too much energy. It's easier for you to just lay back and say something mean, because in your mind you're triggering her back, because how dare she come around looking snatched? But that's not her fault. She had a goal, she achieved it. Why are you mad? Why don't you set a goal and achieve it? That's the tea. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining me. Let me know if you have experienced this kind of negative projection, either from someone else, or have you been in situations where you negatively projected your insecurities on someone who is just living their life? And share also the positives that have come out of your triggers. Has there been someone that triggered you and that led you to bettering yourself, that led you to becoming the woman that you are today to some aspect or to some respect? Let me know down in the comments. I'd be really keen to know your experience. And I will see you beautiful ladies in the next one.